There are numbers that we still chase that have never once even chased us back. Followers, grades, bank balances, likes, steps walked, calories that were tracked, or sales that were made, or views that were earned, messages you replied to, or tasks that you completed. But not one of these ever said to you, "You're enough, rest now," or "You matter regardless," or "You're loved even if this number here never changes." See, they gave us these benchmarks, but never a sense of belonging. They gave us targets, but never tenderness. They measured, but they never actually mirrored us back. Here at Uber Bintegers, we don't fix people. We free them through integrity and intimacy. But let's talk about this. See, this episode is for anyone who's ever felt like they were defined by data, or whose identity got tangled up in a scorecard, or whose self-respect basically rose and fell depending on how well they measured up. Because here's the raw truth. We've been chasing these metrics that have never loved us back. We've been in essence trying to prove our worth using tools that don't even speak the language of love. Like, we've been trying to heal using these scales that were never designed to hold our humanity. In essence, we've been trying to become whole by earning approval from systems that were built more for consumption, but not really for connection. And most of us, we didn't even realize this at all, because those metrics, well, they were introduced to us very early, from a very early stage in our life. Remember, for example, those gold stars we got in kindergarten, or the test scores that we earned in school, or the praise that we got for performance, or the validation for staying small, the attention for being attractive, or the applause for being agreeable. And each one of these metrics trained us to attach our value to a number, or a reaction, or an outcome. And so we internalized this formula, and the formula said something like, good numbers means that I'm good, or silence means that I'm invisible, or low stats means that I'm failing, or more attention means I'm worth more, or less attention means I need to work harder. And I mean, this became addictive, didn't it? Because those metrics gave us this illusion of control. If I can just do more, then I will matter. Or if I just post more, then they'll see me. If I just achieve more, then they'll finally love me. Or if I just fix a bit more, then maybe I'll be enough. But this system is rigged, because metrics were never designed to reflect your worth. They were designed to reflect output, or reactions, or reach, or efficiency, or impact. And I mean, they might have been useful in business, but this is absolutely deadly in the realm of belonging. But let's get real here. Metrics are not malicious, right? But they are mechanical. They are cold. They don't care. They don't know what it cost you to get out of bed today. They don't know how much healing it took to say what you were able to say. And they don't know your history, or your grief, or your growth, or your becoming. See, they just know the numbers, and they don't love you back. But we keep checking them, and we keep refreshing, and we keep waiting, and we keep measuring, and we keep comparing, and hoping that in some point they will one day say the thing that we've needed to hear all along, and that is, you're enough, or you matter, or you're seen, or you're lovable. But that affirmation never comes, because those words were never in the metrics vocabulary in the first place. So, my dear listener, what can we do? Well, we can pause. We can breathe. We can unplug from the machine long enough to ask, who was it that taught me that value had to be measured? Or who was it that taught me that growth had to be proven? Or who taught me that being seen meant performing better? Because here's the deal. We don't break free from false metrics by shaming ourselves for chasing them in the first place. No, we break free from these metrics by understanding why we needed them in the first place. See, we needed structure amidst chaos. And we needed signals of approval when love felt really inconsistent. Or we needed something to reward our effort. Or we also needed a way to feel like we were in control when our insides felt super fragile. I mean, that's not a weak thing. That's a human thing. But now we get to grow. Now we get to name the lie, and that is that no metric can reflect what's sacred. Not your likes, not your grades, not your income, not your relationship status, not your to-do list, not even your weight or your spiritual routines, not your sexual desirability, not even your visibility for that matter. See, you are not data. You are a person. And your worth is not up for this algorithmic approval. See, this is where integrity and intimacy bring us back to life again. Because integrity says, I will no longer shrink to stretch myself to meet expectations of a system that never really cared for my soul, right? And intimacy says, I will show up, not as a curated brand, but as this full and honest and present human being. Integrity reminds us that we can choose truth over trendiness. And then intimacy would remind us that real connection happens in the unseen moments and not just the moments that are celebrated. And when we start living from this space, so much shifts. We start asking different questions, right? Not did I win, but was I aligned, right? Or not was I impressive, was it impressive, or the like. Instead we say, was it honest? Not did they like me, but more so, was I real with them? Not did I prove myself. Instead we say, did I stay close to myself? See, this is not a rejection of goals or structure or results. This is a rejection of making them our gods. We can still aim, yes, we can still strive, we can still create, but not from a lack of something, not from fear, not from the aching need to finally be told that we're enough, because we already were enough. And no metric, not even the ones in our own minds, gets to define this anymore. So let me say this very clearly now. We do not need to earn rest. We do not need to achieve visibility to be valid. We do not need to optimize our every breath to justify being alive. We need to remember that we were whole before we were even being watched. We were loved before we were even measured. That we were worthy before we were even ranked. So let's unplug, not forever, but just long enough to reset and to listen for the quieter truths, to hear the voice inside that says, I was never supposed to be data. I was never meant to be efficient. I was never built to be consumed. I was made to be felt, to be seen, to be known, to be loved, to be here. Tomorrow in our episode, we're going to explore the deep confusion between confidence and one's worth, and why building the former without the latter still leaves us feeling empty. But for today let's walk away from the scoreboard, shall we? Let's Instead of seeing the scoreboard, let's reclaim our value from the metrics that never loved us back. And in so doing, let's rebuild from the inside with integrity and intimacy and this quiet dignity of enoughness. Thanks for watching this episode. I'll see you in tomorrow's episode.